this is Angela Toucan. Welcome to Digital Scrapbooking with Affinity Studio. And today I'm going to be creating a page inspired by this piece of weird art. It's The Warmth of Home, and it's from a kit by Lynn Grieveson called Colmar. It's one she released last month, and it's still available in the store. As usual, full details of all the products I use will be included in the video description, and for anything that's still on sale, there will be a store link. I have been asked about using ABR brushes in Affinity, so as part of this video I will demonstrate installing and using an ABR brush file. I have put chapters onto this video, so if you want to jump straight to that you can do. All details will be in the description. So let's go back to my page. So here we have The Warmth of Home, and I'd been thinking about photos that we take when it's snowing, because we had snow a few weeks ago, and we rarely take photos of the house. We take photos of the kids sledging, building snowmen, icicles, and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it would be nice to just capture the whole idea of what it's like being warm inside when it's cold outside. So I found some photos. These are from a number of years ago, and my home doesn't look like this anymore, but it did back then. So that's part of the documenting process in scrapbooking. So I've got these 3 photos here, and I'm gonna have a little pop in the kit, and in here we have some frames. Now, I've recently been asked why I am scrapbooking with the Vector Studio, and the answer to that is quite simply it's the easiest one to use when digital scrapbooking. So you could also use layout. That's quite easy too, but I find it takes up more space on the screen for when I'm videoing. So Vector is becoming my favourite to use here. When I used Affinity 2, I preferred to use Publisher and then went into the others when I needed them. Now I seem to be lending myself towards Vector. Most of the tools that I need to use are in the Vector Studio. So here I have the frame. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller, and I'm going to duplicate it. Right click, duplicate, and do it again. So I've got 3 photos, and just so that there's a bit of variety, I'm going to flip these about. So this one, I'm going to mirror it. So if I go to the transform and flip horizontal, that now has it the opposite way around. And this one, I'm going to go and flip it vertically. So mirror, flip vertically. So now I have 3 frames that all look a bit different, despite being the same element in the scrapbooking kit. They're all a little bit bigger than I want them to be right now, so I'm going to hold down the Shift key with all 3 and then resizing them. That way all the aspect ratios stay the same. If I was to do that without, the aspect ratios would change. And let's just make sure that they're all lined up, and I think they are. So if I go to the alignment tool here, I can align them so that they're all aligned centrally, and then I can go to align vertically, and I can select this one here, which is space, so that will make them all evenly spaced. Apply. So there we are with my, again, I'm just going to make those a bit smaller. Right. And I'm going to move the warmth from home so that it's on a higher layer. Under these, I'm going to put my photos. So let's find them. Right, here they are. And we'll go with this one. Let's make it smaller. And just place it underneath. Right. Okay. Sticking up behind that image there, let's just use the navigator panel. There we go. And I want to make it smaller. So if I go over here and I go to the crop tool, vector cropping, and I can just pull that down so that it fits into the space. Next one, we'll go for the inside of that room where we can see the roof from the inside. It's different now, but that's what it was like when we first moved here. Right, let's see. Transform. Let's get back to the navigator. That's what I wanted. Let's just make the page a bit bigger so I can see what I'm doing. I seem to have accidentally put a clipping mask in there. Let's delete it. Oh, I still have the crop tool selected. As you can see, it's cropping my photo. So let's undo that and go back and get the selection tool. Make this smaller. So we're looking at the roof here. The fact that the roof is just covered in snow. You should be able to see through it. It's glass. And again, back to the crop tool. It's cropping in. And we can crop in from all four sides. Back to the selection tool. And let's just take that down slightly. And then my final one. And again, let's make it smaller. So the view outside from my front window. So this is the front of the house. So I saw the neighbours' houses. And then the crop tool. And back into making my photo fit the space. And there we go. So I'm just going to go Control-0, and that makes the zoom go out so it fits to page. And let's take the frame, and I'm going to give it a layer effect. And the layer effect I'm going to give it is a drop shadow, just a very basic, simple drop shadow, just so like it's a piece of paper on top of the page, or primarily on top of my photo. And I'm going to copy that by drag dropping the FX onto the other frames. I'm going to take the frame and its photo, Control G to group them together so that the frames and the photos stay together. And now I'm going to apply another drop shadow to the framed photos. And this one's going to be a bigger shadow, and I'm going to take it slightly to the left. And I think I'm going to group them all together as well. And maybe pop them in the middle. Let's move the warmth of home over here. And let's copy across the shadow. Let's make it a little bit smaller. So I think there's a better place. Right. So now I'm going to go to the brushes. And for using the brushes, I'm going to switch into the pixel mode because ABR brushes are pixel brushes. So moving into Pixel Studio. And here we have the brushes tab. And all the brushes that you will be able to access in here are all going to be pixel brushes. If you go for brushes in the Vector Studio, you'll get vector brushes. So here we got these, and I'm going to go and get a brush set that I'm going to use today, and it's from Alphabetti Mess brushes by Lynn Designs. And I'm going to take this one here. Now I could just take the PNG file, put it in my folder and use it as a black thing, or I can use it as a brush, which is much more dynamic really and editable. So in Pixels, the easiest way to install a ABR brush file is to grab hold of it and drag drop it into Affinity. It's just imported the brush set for me. So I go back into the brushes panel and here it is. Grieveson Alphabetti mess. And the one that I wanted was brush number 2. So brush number 2. And we need to go back to the layers panel. And I'm going to create a pixel layer. That's this thing that looks like the checkered board, like a chessboard. Let's click the pixel layer and I'm going to move it so it's underneath my photos. Go to the brush tool and there it is. You can see an image of what it would be looking like if I was to stamp it onto the page. Now I'm going to pick colour from my layout. So I'm actually going to take that greeny colour that's on the on these frames. So let's go for that one there. So now you can see that if I stamp this, it's going to be in that colour. So I'm just going to stamp one there. Because I might want to move them around later, I'm actually going to create another pixel layer. I could stamp as many times as I like on this one layer, but I prefer to create multiple layers with each stamp, just so that I can move them about later. In fact, that one in the middle, I don't like that one. I'm going to delete it. And create another one. This time I'm going to take the colour from this word art. And I'm going to make it smaller. So the size of the brush is up at the top left. So let's just take that down. So it's about half the size of it was. And then you can see it's quite tiny now. And all three of those, I've put them in the same layer. I'm just going to group them all, as I think I like where they are now. And go back to Vector Studio. And I'm going to go back to my kit. This time I'm going to go to the paper packs and choose a background paper. I quite like this one. I don't know what it's going to look like when I put it with everything else, so let's just have a look. So you can't quite see the stamps that I've created very well, but I do like that as a background for the main background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some paint or brush sort of behind this to add to it. Let's just a quick look at the mixed media in this kit. What's this one like? It's not going to be enough. So I'm going to go back to Pixel Studio and my brushes. I have another brush set here by Lynn called Blend It Brushes, which I've previously installed. And I'm going to use the colour picker just to take the whites from this background. And then I'm going to pick one of these. Let's try this one. Select the brush tool. Create my pixel layer. Let's make that brush bigger. Go. That now gives me, still got the paper that I liked, but I now have a more defined area where my elements are, so it doesn't look so busy. Let's go back to vector. Make sure I've got the selection tool, and I'm just going to lock everything so I don't accidentally move it. And now I'm just going to have a look at the embellishments in the kit and just finish it off. So we've got it's snowy photos, so I might like some snowy snowflakes. Let's just drag them onto the page. And a little house. So we've got a house stamp. We've also got these little house elements. Let's put them in and have a look at which ones I like. I think that one is more in keeping with the word art that I've got there. And if I put it underneath it, maybe not. Maybe we pop you here. And let's add drop shadows to these. And I think I prefer this snowflake, so what I'll do is I'll put him underneath there, duplicate, bring it up, put a bit smaller, and duplicate that one, and pop it behind that house. Where's that ended up? Right. And a little bit smaller again. I like that. I think that's finished. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, if there's anything you want me to demonstrate, please let me know either in the comments on this video or via a message at the Lilypad. Yes. Blessings. Bye.